Have you ever wondered what the inside of a wasp nest looks like? Well, today we're going to find out. I'm Ben from Adaptalux, and this is how to photograph the inside of a wasp's nest. Inside this very normal looking carrier bag is a wasp's nest. It's been sent to us by Sam from Solarcan, who makes these really cool analog cameras inside of a can that capture the movement of the sun. Go and check those out. I'll put a link down in the description. Go and say thank you for sending us this wasp nest, which apparently he found somewhere in his house completely abandoned. Now, this is really fragile. I can already tell just by touching the surface that it's really soft and crumbly. So I'm going to take my time in exploring this wasp's nest, and then we're going to open it up and take a look inside. The first thing that I want to do is get a photo of the surface of this, because the texture is really quite interesting. So as you can see, we've got a full nest here, which was apparently abandoned. So there's no signs of any wasps in here. It's been a long time. It's been, well, almost a month since we even got this thing in the post. So there's certainly no signs of life in here. I'm not too scared of the wasps, but it's a very dried out husk of a nest. So you can see that this whole part here looks like it's going to come off, and we have some loose frames and things inside here. I am going to take all of this apart and explore inside the nest, but I do want to get a photo of this surface as well, which is really unique. I think this is a really cool texture that the wasps have created in their nest here. So I'm going to get some lights out and I'm going to explore the outside of the nest first. To properly represent the surface texture of this nest, I want some lighting that is white, it needs to be diffused, and it needs to be controllable. I'm going to be using the Adaptalux Studio with 2 white lighting arms and 2 diffusers to bring some extra light down onto the surface of the nest. Once we go inside, it's going to be even more critical that these flexible arms can reach into the nest and provide light where we need it to be. For now though, I'm just going to handhold my camera and place my lights on a mini tripod so that I can explore around the surface of the nest before we delve inside. So then guys, check out the surface texture of this nest. The closest thing that I can liken this to is some sort of fabric. It explains why it's so flimsy and soft to the touch, and why it's so easy to tear. You can actually see that different parts of this nest have been made with different elements, different colors of material. It's almost in layers like you would find in the rock under the earth. As they've built this nest using different resources, you can see that the nest has been built with these sort of construction lines as the nest has changed over time. I think that is absolutely fascinating, and this is not what I expected from the surface of the nest at all. I was expecting something much more hard or protective of the nest rather than this sort of material looking structure. So on this section of the nest over here, you can see that we've got these repeating patterns of almost like semicircles or circles overlapping, and clearly this is related to the method that they've used to construct or expand the nest. It's really fascinating how these repeating patterns are just found in nature, and how they can naturally come together to build something as big as this nest, all with just thousands of, I guess, drones or workers going out, finding some materials and bringing it back to put into place on the nest. I think the surface texture of this nest is really fascinating, and I think we can create some really cool photographs, perhaps by changing our lighting a little bit. The light that I've been using so far is quite flat because we've just got 2 diffused lights opposing each other. All of the shadows are filled and you can't really see that texture as much as I'd hoped. I think taking away one of these lighting arms and having a single light source will create a lot more contrast between those geometric shapes created by the wasps and perhaps some of the damage that's been done to the nest as well. I think that will create some really cool opportunities for perhaps some abstract looking shots. So I think it's time to take a look inside the nest properly, and I'm just setting up a lighting arm down here so that we can actually see into this big crevasse in the middle here, which I think has been either torn open or it's been damaged as the nest has been removed. But this whole section just here, I can already feel that it's quite loose. I think I can just take this whole section off and we can get a really clean look at the inside of the nest. And well, straight away, as you can see, all of those cells inside where the larva would be birthing out new wasps. That's a really interesting view just there. We'll take a closer look at that in just a minute. But we have multiples of these, let's call them frames. I'm not sure if they're called frames the same as bees would be called, but there's lots and lots of them in here, all stacked together. So we can start to take these out and have a look at the underside, which I think really is the interesting part here. So let's investigate this area of the nest just here, where we've got an upturned frame with all of these individual cells on display. I've added a couple of lighting arms here. One is really low down to the surface so that it's shining light across the top of all of these cells. This lighting arm here is lighting the inside of the cells back here and this back wall, but also shining a little bit of light in this direction too. I'm going to bring my camera in from this direction and take a look at the frames, and as you can see, this looks eerily similar to like an aerial shot of a city. I think perhaps because of the different heights of these cells, they look a little bit like skyscrapers. As I move upwards, obviously we lose a lot of that, and we're much more recognizable as a sort of honeycomb texture here. But the lighting does make this look really, really interesting. There's a lot of highlights, shadows, contrast across the top of these frames as the light drops down into the little holes and reflects off the sides of the slightly taller frames. This is absolutely fascinating. I think I can create some really cool shots just by looking at the top of the frames here with a couple of plain white diffused lighting arms. So the next thing that I wanted to do was take one of these frames complete with all of those little cells and start to shine some light behind it and shine the light through all of the cells. It's not going to be super apparent, the effect on this camera, because there's also a video light just in front of me, but I think this is going to create some really interesting lighting, almost as if it's coming from within the nest itself. It's going to shine down the sides of each of the cells, and if I can get the right angle, I think I can create some really cool abstract shots of honeycomb textures direct from the honeycomb itself. Do they call it a honeycomb when it's wasps? Do they make honey? I don't know. I really should look up some wasp facts. So the way that I've done this is essentially by resting that loose frame on top of the rest of the nest, and then bending a lighting arm down and underneath that whole section so that we can get a nice bright spot on the top there. You can see that some of the light is coming up through those cells and creating a warm patch on the top side of the frame. So I'm going to be coming from the top side here and shooting down through those cells to try and capture some of the light coming from underneath. It's actually beneficial to be off slightly from the center of the frames. I'm angling in from a different angle here so that we can capture some of the light that's actually on the sides of the frames. If I move completely straight down on the frames, essentially we get a lot of light coming in, but you lose kind of any perspective of what we're actually looking at, compared to looking slightly from the side, where you can clearly see all of the honeycomb, but then also the light coming up from the bottom of some of those honeycombs. It's really interesting to add a little bit of light to the underside here. I'm also going to experiment with adding well, more lights into this kind of shot as well, and just trying to find the best balance of light from the bottom versus light from the top. So I've gone back to a single white lighting arm setup just here that is pointing from the back of the frames, casting shadows forwards towards the camera. But because each of these frames is also slightly translucent, we've got a really interesting lighting scenario happening here, where some of the light is passing through, some of it's bouncing off the top, and some of it is not reaching the interior of these cells at all. So look what happens as I move this light around. We can completely change the look of this, well, let's call it a landscape. It's a landscape of wasp cells, but moving this single lighting arm around even just millimeters at a time completely changes the way that this photograph looks. And I'm really excited to find my preference here of where I want my light to actually sit. Where do I want my focus to sit? Maybe I'll focus stack this one, but I just wanted to show you the difference that the placement of this diffuser actually makes when you're looking at the surface of multiple different cells. So then guys, as you can see, I've been dismantling the nest. It's all in various pieces. It's making an awful mess because it's actually really dusty, very dry, very crumbly. It smells a little bit weird as well, so that's something to take note of. But it certainly says to me that if you've got a nest like this, perhaps in the garden, or you know, an abandoned wasp nest somewhere, or even a beehive or something like that, it's well worth saving the thing to do some photography with, because it's a really interesting structure found in nature that we generally don't get to see this inside of. So yeah, if you're dealing with some bees or some wasps, perhaps try saving the nest. I've not found a single dead wasp inside this one, which means that they probably migrated away, moved out of this nest to go and find a new one, instead of it being exterminated, which I'm quite happy about. So it's really nice to be able to take a look at this without damaging any kind of ecosystem anywhere. So yeah, if you find one of these out and about, do make sure that there's first of all no wasps still living inside, but perhaps then you could also get an opportunity to take a look inside the nest. This is the second time that we've done something like this. The last time was with beehives. I will link to that up in the top left hand side of the screen and in the description, because it's a completely different experience taking apart something like this and having lots and lots of time to explore, versus trying to get some photos of bees and honey and the cells all while they're still going about their day. So certainly it's a better option to find a dead empty nest like this one than it is to try and approach a live one. You will almost certainly get stung. I got stung twice last time and I was inside a bee suit. So do make sure you're very careful if you do try to attempt this. So what an absolutely fascinating subject this wasp nest has turned out to be. The shapes, the geometric structure, the building materials, the fragility of the whole thing, all really fascinating to explore, especially for a layman like me. I don't know how wasps do their thing, but it's certainly very interesting nonetheless, especially when you add in a little bit of extra light and some specialist photography techniques like focus stacking. You can create some really cool images of something like this. As I mentioned, if you're going to approach any kind of nest, do make sure it's completely inert. There's no chance of you being attacked. Do make sure to treat all of the animals with respect as well, because we don't want to be destroying nests solely for the purpose of taking some photos. So only if you find an abandoned or dead nest do you want to be trying to attempt something like this. But I was very fortunate because Sam sent over this nest for us after he found it completely abandoned. So it's been a fascinating exploration into the structure and lives of wasps. Let me know down in the comments if you would approach this in a different way to the way that I've done it today. Perhaps different angles, or different lighting techniques, perhaps a different type of lens. Let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video and learned something today, make sure to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for lots more macro photography tutorials, ideas and inspiration coming in the future. For now, that is all I've got time for. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.